A hunka hunka burnin' love. Coming to you today to review Elvis. Just finished getting out of watching it. Really impressed with this movie. I was surprised how good it was. Let's get into a couple of the details. Uh, the movie is basically based on Elvis's life and what he goes through. First, let's go through the movie info. The film explores the life and music of Elvis Presley, seen through the prism of his complicated relationship with his enigmatic manager, Colonel Tom Parker. The story delves into the complex dynamic between Presley and Parker, spanning over 20 years, from Presley's rise to fame to his unprecedented stardom, against the backdrop of an evolving cultural landscape and loss of innocence in America. Central to that journey is one of the most significant and influential people in Elvis's life, Priscilla Presley. Let's get into the cast and crew over here. The star of the show basically is Austin Butler. He is Elvis Presley. This guy, I don't think he's been in a lot of movies or movies that I know of, but this guy does a phenomenal job as Elvis Presley. I was very surprised how good of a job he did. By the end of the film, you really think that this guy is Elvis Presley. Following that, his co-star is Tom Hanks as Colonel Tom Parker. And, you know, Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks. He does a good job. He basically plays a sleazy guy in the business trying to make money off of a star. And I think this happens to a lot of stars, where you get these sleazy people that basically run you to the ground and basically make millions off of you while you deteriorate in your career. After that, we'll go to the director, Baz Luhrmann. I really haven't heard of this guy. My understanding here is that he's done a couple films. The Great Gatsby, which was okay, I guess. Other than that, then after that, another notable one that I know is Moulin Rouge, which was, again, it was okay. And I really liked William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. I thought that was a good movie. If you've seen The Great Gatsby, you see that this movie is kind of centered around that glitz and glam, you know, looking at the intro, how it goes. Now, the first act of the film takes place basically in his childhood, where you see where he had a twin brother, and the twin brother died. These are a lot of things that I didn't know about Elvis myself. So the dad got arrested, and the mother and him had to move to basically the slums or a ghetto. There he struggled, but he would go and where the black people would go to church and to play music, basically the rhythm and blues there, is where basically he saw he had a chance to go and be somebody that way. The movie has in the beginning, in the first act, a big comic book feeling, because he goes through the comic book because he likes Captain Marvel Jr., which I thought was a real good kick to how the movie was in the beginning. Second act basically shows him where he's building up, but then he has to go to the army because they basically don't agree with the style because he moves his pelvis, and basically they think that this is the devil's music. So they make him go to be an all-American boy. They make him go to the army. Then after in the army is where he meets the love of his life. After the army, he gets out, and that's where he builds a lot bigger notoriety as far as making movies, making merchandise sales. This is where he makes a lot of his money. Third act comes down. He wants to go basically international. He wants to get away from Colonel Tom Parker, and he wants to make his own way. But Colonel Tom Parker basically tells him, hey, you can make money this way. Why don't you try these live shows at the International Hotel in Las Vegas, open up here for 6 weeks. That was the catch, and see how it goes. And basically from there, it's a downfall for Elvis, and you see how his life basically deteriorates. But the biggest thing about the movie is that this guy, Elvis, is a showman. And I know the movie makes it more grandiose of what it is, but basically in this movie, he's a showman. I was surprised, and it kind of sucks that I was born after he passed away. But it just shows to you how good of a talent he was. As far as the visuals of the movie are great. If you like The Great Gatsby, you'll like the visuals of this movie. I think it was really good, well put together. The score of the movie, it's Elvis singing. What more can you want? He has great songs through the years. There's a couple like remixes in there. They're okay. They're not great, but basically all the songs that he sings, they're phenomenal. The movie for me is kind of short, and I know you're trying to tell Elvis's story in basically in a span of 2 hours and a half, and it's not enough. It's not enough. It leaves holes inside the movie where there's other questions wanting to be asked. Now, as far as the ratings are concerned, here you got Rotten Tomato gives it an 82%. They still haven't had enough audience scores to see what they expect. You know what? I'm okay with this score. I think Rotten Tomatoes, the critics got it here. Pretty much an 82%. That's pretty good. IMDb gives this movie a 7.8. I think that's a decent score too for the movie. Me personally, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I thought the movie was great. Like I told you, it's not long enough because there's holes in there. Basically, his childhood and how the movie goes through what happens at the end of his life, how he dies. It has some explanations, but you're still left with some questions about some things. His time in the army has to go a little bit more deeper into it. But with the time that was given, I think they did a good job with this film. So guys, thanks for watching again. Definitely go watch the movie. Remember, it's a new channel. Like, comment, subscribe, share. That way I could build the channel, have more reviews for you guys. And remember, as the King Elvis always says, a hunka hunka burn in love.